Aloha. You're watching F5 On Demand. We're at the Velocity Conference at the Santa Clara Convention Center. It's the last day of the show. And now one of the things we've been talking about over the last week is our LineRate brand. And so I thought I'd get John Giacomoni. He's the co-founder of LineRate, along with us being a senior architect. John, nice to see you.
Nice to meet you, Pete. How's it going?
I'm pretty good.
Awesome.
So one of the things I was wondering, so we have and I'm going to probably call this video The Tale of Two Proxies. Ooh, great title. But so we have the TMOS proxy.
Absolutely.
And now we have the LineRate proxy.
Yep.
And so the kind of curiosity, the squirrels start running in the head of what's the difference between the two? And I think some of our viewers might be wondering, where do you use one proxy in a situation versus the other one?
Yep. No, that's a very topical question. It's come up quite a bit today and yesterday at the show. And obviously there's confusion. Is it part of the IT infrastructure? Well, why are we at Velocity? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So really, if you look at the two products, they're actually very complementary. And that's one of the things that attracted F5 to it, is that while the big IP, immensely powerful, immensely capable, it's really built around a mindset of how do we serve the IT infrastructure.
Right.
Very different, very close-knit team, but Velocity is really all about the application developers, DevOps, all these new buzzwords. They want lightweight, they want fast, they want agile. They don't want a feature that was built to support Exchange to run their web app.
Right.
So LineRate is another proxy, very similar to the big IP. The difference is it's designed specifically to appeal to the app developer. So they can get their custom one-off features done very easily without no fuss, no muss, and take it from there.
And in terms of functionality, do they have like the same load balancing algorithms and the other types of profiles and stuff where people can just easily click and deploy?
Absolutely. So it has all the core load balancing algorithms. It's sat in front of PhotoBucket. You heard yesterday. It's sitting in front of hosting.com. So it's got all your round robin, weighted release connections, all the good stuff. But we've simplified the configuration model. So really all you have to worry about is a virtual IP, where do you want to listen on? Virtual server, what are you going to do with it? And the real servers, what are you going to talk to? So it's a much simpler model. You don't worry about things like route domains and layer 2, 3 networking that don't really belong in the application space.
I see.
So we added that logic to simplify it, and then you can go in and focus on your core. What is the decision that you want to make for your app, as opposed to dealing with how do I insert in the network? Because you're already getting that. You're at the app tier already.
And so one of the things that when I was talking to Cyrus yesterday, he was talking about the fact that, like you had just mentioned, route domains, for instance, that a lot of that, networking config stuff that's in TMOS and big IP is kind of automated to some extent within the LineRate. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, it's not automated per se. You really treat this as a application server that knows how to speak to networking. So just like on your app server, you say, listen on this IP address, and then do the stuff with it. The LineRate inserts in the exact same way. You set up what is the listening IP address, and it doesn't matter if you're in reverse proxy, classic load balancing, or even forward proxy, that you want to do something as you're talking to another service without letting someone else know. It just inserts in the exact same model, which again, this is the difference. It's designed for the application developer. What are the tools they're used to working with, as opposed to what are all the nuances that the underlying IT team needs to worry about, like how do I do my QoS?
Yeah.
That's something separate from the application. Right. We're really serving the application, so to clarify the point we made earlier, the big IP runs from the edge of the network all the way to the app front end, web front end, whatever you want to call that, that's just run from the application. LineRate picks up there, so there's some overlap, but then goes into the application. Right. You can think of it as a very flexible app server, maybe a service-oriented architecture component. It's all that glue logic that you need.
And as you just kind of described with your hands there, we've been talking a little bit about sort of the differences and where they get deployed and the problems that they solve. But of course they can work in conjunction with each other, right?
Absolutely. So we typically pitch it. You go into large companies. You're going to need all the classic functionality to manage your network. Because again, big IP is access and availability, but it's also security, access and identity, all this other good stuff that really a lot of people don't think about from the application side, but the deep network architects use it all the time to manage their networks. Some of these, like DDoS mitigation, you want to go into our big chassis so you can get hardware support in the form of ASICs and FPGA and all that good stuff. And then you hit the application, and then you want all the flexibility of raw compute. And as I'm sure you talked about yesterday with Cyrus, We have a cloud licensing model, so that you can do it by capacity based. So if you write an expensive script, you're not burning expensive hardware cores. You're just burning cheap commodity cores.
Yeah.
So again, it's designed to suit the needs of the application developer as opposed to the deep networking infrastructure. That's really the two, and they work perfectly well hand in hand.
And I think you were also talking about in terms of how it gets delivered to the end user, that Big IP comes in the software, virtual editions, and the hardware, where LineRate just comes straight software. They suck it down from linerate.f5.com and off they go.
Exactly. And to make life easy, we have two different models. If you want to focus on the flexibility, it comes in a virtual machine, VMware today. Others will come down the road in not too distant future. Those run up to a couple gigabits. But if you want the true bare metal performance, we actually do disk-based install, Pixie NFS boot, so you can get cloud-like behavior out of your system. But there you're running 20 to 40 gigabits and hundreds of thousands of connections per second. Millions of active concurrent connections, well beyond what any open source networking platform can give you today.
Sure. Really interesting stuff. I'm glad you stopped by, because I was at, like my own, I was wondering, I want to ask John about this, and I'm really grateful that you got on camera to explain it to me and the rest of our viewers. Absolutely. So there you have it, the tale of two proxies, TMOS and LineRate. So for John, hey, first time on the show, great job.
Thanks.
You gonna give a shaka? For John, I got Robert behind the lens, I'm Peter, and we're with F5 Networks. Thanks for watching.